The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by UMass Amherst School of Public Policy. Admissions now open for graduate programs in 2025. Learn how to become a changemaker at umass.edu/SPP.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalil Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, kids incorporating the orchestra into their day with the Springfield Symphony Orchestra. We'll head down the street to Symphony Hall with hundreds of fourth graders to hear the program The Orchestra Moves.
But first, an exploration of words most duplicitous.
Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster, our dictionary in Springfield, Massachusetts. We're going to talk about antonyms and contronyms. What's the difference between an antonym and a contronym, or is there one?
Well, an antonym is just an opposite word. It's a word that has the opposite meaning of, cold is the antonym of hot. Mm-hmm. But we are going to talk about auto-antonyms, also known as contronyms, also known as antagonyms, also known as Janus terms.
I like to do a song of great social and political import.
Antagonyms.
I love them.
I love that. I'm literally writing that down now. We were playing with words at my last band practice and came up with harmonauts.
The things don't harmonize?
No, people who go out and explore music, they're harmonauts.
Harmonauts. I love that.
Oh, I love it. That's good. That's good.
And Janus words are called that because?
Because of the Roman god that had two heads. So they're like two-faced words.
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham!
I believe that Janus was the god of doorways.
Oh.
And then he got a whole month just for him.
A whole month at the beginning of the year.
It's like, you do
God
doors?
of beginnings.
Just doors?
Yeah.
That's it?
No, Janus also starred on The Muppet Show, so it's not just doors.
Like, how many times do I have to tell you?
According to Encyclopedia Britannica, Janus was, in the Roman religion, the animistic spirit of doorways and archways.
So kind of just doors.
Just doors.
Yeah.
Kind of just doors.
Artemis gets or Diana in Roman, gets the moon and the hunt and chastity.
Yeah.
But this guy gets doors in a month.
Gets Jim Morrison.
Shake dreams from your hair, my pretty child, my sweet one.
There's the patriarchy again.
Who might still be alive. There's a new documentary. Crazy.
Oh, my God. Please, let's not throw our own fuel into the ongoing fire that is the world.
I can't wait to watch it.
That can't be true. Could he have issued public attention for so long? It seems really unlikely.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jim Morrison's social security number is still active. How does he know all of Jim's friends?
Is the abuse real? Is the death real? Is anything real about Jim Morrison?
Yeah,
I haven't watched the documentary yet, but it's available on Apple TV+. I can't wait to watch it.
It's the new Tiger King.
Yeah.
If you fall for that, ladies and gentlemen, you're worse than a bunch of nuts in a squirrel tree.
All right, so let's talk about some antagonyms and Janus words.
Antagonyms. Do you all have any favorites? Are there those words that you're like, but this word, it has two completely opposing meanings?
Inflammable.
Inflammable is an antagonym or a contronym, right? Because it can mean able to burst into flames or not able to burst into flames.
Flame retardant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's dangerous.
Yeah.
I've said it many times.
Yes.
Yeah. Oversight is maybe one that a lot of people enjoy, especially when you're talking about government oversight.
Right.
Oh,
There's the oversight where you are paying careful attention to something that is going on, and then there is the oversight where you have missed something. You have not seen it.
Fortunately, this word is totally politically irrelevant for our time.
Entirely.
Also, we will make mistakes, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly.
The oversight one is interesting. It originally referred to watchful care or supervision, but then it came to refer to the thing that watchful care or supervision gets rid of.
Huh.
Okay.
So that's the logic, but the result of this semantic logic and extension is the fact that the word then has two very contradictory meanings. Some people feel that literally, when it's used in its hyperbolic sense, is also an antagonym.
I can see that.
I can too. And for people that don't know, I hate to break it to you, that literally does mean the opposite of literally and also means literally.
Pawnee is literally the greatest town in the country.
There is a pretzel stand over there that serves literally the best pretzel I've ever had.
You can literally say literally any way you literally want to, and it's going to be in the dictionary as acceptable.
Well, there's a strong warning there against it, and also, I mean, the downside is the ire of whoever you're speaking to, the absolute disgust and ire and wrath, depending on just how flammable that person is.
Or inflammable. Could be either.
Yeah. I really like the antagonym dust.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It always makes me think of Amelia Bedelia.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Dust the furniture. Did you ever hear tell of such a silly thing? At my house, we undust the furniture. Amelia Bedelia saw a big box with the words dusting powder on it.
When you dust a piece of furniture, you're removing the dust from it, but dust can also mean to sprinkle a dusting on something, right?
Right.
Like snow.
And there is an
Right.
Amelia Bedelia where she definitely deals with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Amelia Bedelia really deals. I mean, I feel like the stories basically require antagonyms in order to work.
Agreed.
So for people who don't know, Amelia Bedelia is this very good baker who also makes her living by cleaning houses for people and doing, I don't know, other sorts of housework, I guess. But she interprets the instructions she is given in a very particular way. She doesn't understand any kind of figurative use of words. She wants everything to be literal. And then she also chooses one meaning, always the wrong meaning, the unintended meaning.
Yeah. She's a literary figure, for if you missed that part of it, too. She's in books.
Yes.
And they probably animated her. And if
I think they did, a couple of times.
If they ask her to draw the drapes, she will do a drawing of your curtains.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And if you ask her to dust the furniture, she will take your best body powder and sprinkle it all over your furniture.
That should be dusty enough. My, how nice it smells.
But the fact that she is such a good baker gets her out of destroying their household over and over again, which I've always liked, wow, good for you, Amelia Bedelia.
Yes.
You would have been fired a long time ago in my house. I don't care how good of a baker you are.
I don't want to encourage people not to branch out, but it is sort of a like, hey, maybe you stay in your lane.
God, Amelia! Stammered Mr. Rogers as he backed up. Where did you get the arms for that chair? He stopped before finishing the sentence. No! Wailed Mr. Rogers in eldritch horror. It was too late. The deed was done. There is no God. Only Amelia Bedelia.
How about drop as an antagonym? This is a newer one, I think.
Oh, yeah, because of beats and then gravity.
Yeah, explain. I can see that a beat would drop and gravity makes things drop, or an album would drop, but I can't think of what the other opposite word would be, or something that would be so contrary to that.
You drop something and you lose it, right? Like I dropped a vowel, I dropped a letter from my name. I removed it. But then drop also means to present, right? To complete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool.
That is newer.
You do not want to be dropped from your label, but you want to drop an
a new album. If you don't drop an album, you will be dropped from your label.
Right.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, that is a neat new one.
I like assume.
So explain.
You like assume?
Yeah. Explain the Janus nature of assume.
So assume is like you're taking a position, but then like assuming means that you don't quite have the position yet. I think it's that.
I'm trying to fully understand. So you can assume responsibility, you can assume a position, you take those on, or you place yourself in that. But then you can also pretend.
To have the position.
Right. That's a good one
It's
too.
dangerous to assume because when you do, you make an as out of umi.
But our food is so good.
Umami.
Some people complain about the word peruse.
Well, okay.
Really? Does peruse does it?
Yeah. Peruse definitely does it. Peruse can mean to read very, very carefully and closely, or it can also mean to skim over.
Oh, I always think of it as skimming over. I don't really think of it as doing closely at all.
No, I always assume the other one.
Really?
I always assume the looking closely.
Huh. I guess that's a perfect one then.
Yeah. That's so interesting that you two have different assumptions about what the most common meaning is. Yeah. In the late 1400s, which is when it dates to, it was about a careful examination, not of reading, though. Like in Romeo and Juliet, let me peruse this face. Let me stare at it, soak it in.
Totally not creepy at all.
I thought he just gave her a quick once over and was done with her. but I guess not. He really perused that face.
Let's make it weirder.
A peruse by any other name would smell as sweet.
All right, what about cleave?
Oh, yeah, because two people can cleave together, and you can take a cleaver and cut something in half.
Yeah. Cleave it's very classic for the contronym, antagonym. Oh, more recent also are words like sick. Oh, wicked.
Oh, yeah.
Wicked is
your favorite, Monty.
I love
Wicked.
Bad.
Sick, I'm sick of when people, it definitely shows my age that people who are 15 years younger than me use sick all the time, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I use sick.
Not as much as these people that I know.
No, and I pretty much only use it in musical context.
Yeah.
It's a classic category of complimentary slang words.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the word cool, right? Cool and hot. That's cool. That's hot. Those both, they kind of mean they can be used to mean exactly the same thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Bad.
Bad, totally.
Not bad, meaning bad, but bad, meaning good.
Yep.
How about the word sanguine? What do you think of when you hear the word sanguine?
Blood.
Yeah, that's my...
Yeah.
Bloody and peaceful.
Yes, also peaceful.
Right, peaceful, but it can also mean bloodthirsty.
That's great.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Do you all know the origin of the word sanguine, or what it first referred to?
Well, something with blood, I'm assuming.
It traces back to the medieval philosophy, a philosophy of body humors.
Oh, is it one of the four humors, like phlegmatic and...
Yes. Yeah, what are they? There's phlegmatic, there's sanguine, there is melancholic.
Right.
And...
I really should know this more. I have a board game about this.
It's poop, because what's funnier than that?
It's not poop. It's not poop.
It's a humor.
That's your humor.
Bile, right. I mean, there's black bile, blood, phlegm, and yellow bile are the four actual... In the definition, it says one of the four fluids that were believed to enter into the constitution of the body and to determine by their relative proportions a person's health and temperament.
We've come some ways.
We have.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people.
But right, sanguine still carries the blood meanings, but then also because a description of somebody's physical appearance as being sanguine will portray them as having rosy cheeks. That then came to mean somebody who is, in a good temper, always smiling and happy. And so that is a sanguine person. But then also because it's about blood, that person is also a sanguine person, is also a bloodthirsty person.
I just watched Let the Right One In.
Oh.
The vampire movie.
Yeah.
That's a sanguine vampire.
Yeah.
Most of that movie is pretty chill.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just got to go and jump on an old dude off of a bridge and drink all of his blood.
I mean, everybody gets hangry sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's Let the Right One In is the right one to watch. Let Me In is the remake, and it's not as...
I heard it was okay. But
it's okay,
I have not seen that one.
I don't think it's as good.
Yeah. Do you have other favorite contronyms or antagonyms or Janus words?
This is a short, weird list that I found. But ones that they have on this one are reservation, clip, they have oversight, and then I think stay was the other one they have.
Like a stay of execution?
Yeah, they have to be in a place temporarily or to be in a place long term.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Fast is another one.
Yes.
Like you hold fast is like a lack of motion.
Right.
But then fast also means motion. Clip is a good one, right? You clip something off, clip something on.
Right.
Clip it too. The interesting thing to me is how these almost never, unless you're Amelia Bedelia, cause any problems in communication. Like we all navigate these various meanings and there's almost never confusion.
For native speakers.
Yes.
For native speakers, yes.
Sorry,
but watch your
everybody.
sanguine and watch your peruse.
In my Kung Fu class all the time, when we're wrapping up, they say start to finish up. And I'm always like, if you were not a native speaker, this would make no sense to you.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, you mean I have to do the whole thing right now?
To finish up?
Didn't we just...
Yeah. How do I start to finish? And what does up have to do with this? But native speakers know exactly what we're talking about.
Right? And don't even think about it.
I mean,
except for
think
you.
About it, yeah. Well, granted, there was a kid whose second language was English in the class at the time where it dawned on me. I was like, what does this kid think when we say this every time?
Luckily, if they're a kid, then they probably have a little bit more flexibility with their learning of the language.
Yeah, and they could also probably do splits because it's Kung Fu.
Yeah, prepositions are just... they're really crazy. We
Yeah.
throw them in and we don't, without any logic, or we don't think about the logic. A lot of them have logic. They have kind of their lanes that they stay in, but then they stray out of those occasionally. But for the most part, we don't analyze them. We just use them.
Well, thank you for elucidating these Janus words, contronyms, antagonyms. Did I miss any of them?
Autoantonyms.
Autoantonyms.
Makes it sound like a malady.
Yeah. I like Decepticonyms.
Oh no, that's entirely
Autobots and the Decepticons.
different. The auto-antonyms and the decepta-antonyms.
Yeah.
The words that lie to you.
Right.
The words that lie to you. Khalees, I like that one. Yeah.
Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Thanks, ironically, to Transforming Morpher, who is the YouTuber whose clip I used for Amelia Bedelia is actually pretty terrifying.
Accurate.
We'd love to hear if you have any of those contronyms or what were they called again? Antagonyms.
Antagonyms.
Or any other question for the word nerd, Emily Brewster, our resident wordster from Merriam-Webster. You can always email us, and we will ask her on your behalf. thefab413@nepm.org.
I just imagine antagonyms fighting homonyms for the true leaders of language.
Yeah, they should animate a word nerd thing, maybe on PBS.
Next, we'll head off to our friendly local symphony down the block, who in turn are introducing themselves and what they do to copious amounts of fourth graders in the program The Orchestra Moves.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, helping customers make the switch to solar for savings, energy security, and tax incentives. Learn more at northeast-solar.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Window World of Western Mass, a local family business with experienced craftsmen offering vinyl, composite, and James Hardie siding. windowworldofwesternma.com.
Thank you for coming out on this beautiful day to Springfield Symphony Hall. My name is Paul Lambert. On behalf of all of us with the Springfield Symphony Orchestra, we're so happy and proud to welcome you all to this beautiful concert today, and hope that you come and enjoy the beautiful music, not just today, but many times and for many years to come. We live in a wonderful place, and among the many things that make this area special is the fact we have a symphony orchestra. We'd especially like to thank the city of Springfield, all of their help in arranging this today. And to start that off and to make it formal, please join me in welcoming to the stage the mayor of the city of Springfield, Mr. Dominic Simon.
Now, I know it feels good that you're out of school right now, but even while you're having fun, you're going to be learning here. Wait until you see the maestro. I love the outfits that he wears. He does a great job. And also, it's important that we make sure that we recognize all your teachers. I sat where you sat many, many years ago when I was at White Street School. My alma mater, 3rd or 4th grade. I'm proud of each and every one of you. You're shining stars here in the city of Springfield. And I believe we have Northampton schools here today, too. Am I correct? Before I want to hear a cheer from our Springfield schools.
My name is Rosie. My name is Niley. And we are student leaders of the Springfield Public Schools Ignite Mentoring Through Music program.
Culture defines who you are and where you came from. Culture is important because look around this room. Everybody is here. Everyone, every different culture. That is why it's important to be proud, loud and proud of who you are and where you came from. And to be known to celebrate in your schools.
We are all musicians, and we're here standing beside you because we are leaders. And we want you, everyone in this room, we want you to become leaders. And we want to see all of you guys do what we do. We want you to take over. Because you are the future. Music changes your lives. It changes our lives. And we want you to have that experience too.
Thank you, and give it up to Springfield Symphony!
Marcel Manson.
Drum roll, please.
It's cool to have a drummer at your disposal whenever you need one of those.
The orchestra moves.
Well, are you ready to experience the many ways that music moves?
Paul Lambert, President and CEO of Springfield Symphony Orchestra. We heard a little bit from the mayor's office about how this gets funded. It's predominantly Springfield schools, right? But I saw Northampton was here as well.
Absolutely.
Tell us about who puts this program on.
Well, the program itself is put together by our education department. Caitlin Meyer, our education director, and her team work with the rest of us. They work very hard all year long to put this together. You know, we just brought this back to life last year with Caitlin's help and Caitlin's help. Get that?
Caitlin and Caitlin?
Exactly. Yeah. But it was really we're so happy it's back to life. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I love fourth graders, and I'm just thrilled we have this thing happening again.
Why fourth graders?
Well, there seems to have been a tradition of that, frankly, that there were fourth graders who came. It so happens I read to fourth graders in the public schools for the last 20 years. So if there was ever a choice to be made, it was going to be fourth graders. I just think they're a perfect age for this wonderful program.
Let's take 3 steps that way.
Yeah, let's do it.
Away from the speaker.
But now we're in a hallway.
Yes, we're in the hallway.
Much better.
It's much better and much quieter.
Somebody yelled the Bowie School, though, and I was like, I wish I went to that school.
Every time they try to get kids on the bus, we're like, oh, God.
Caitlin Marcel Manson, the maestro who is behind all this.
Yes.
When Beethoven's Fifth Notes hit, did you hear the reaction of the audience?
Yes.
And do you ever get reactions like that any other time?
You never get reactions like that unless you have a bunch of kids or a bunch of students in the audience. And I think it's just that moment where they hear that motif and they're like, oh my God! Oh, I'm being beckoned.
Uh-oh.
It's a busy day here.
I got moved to tears, actually, when that happened. It was just so amazing to see these kids react to that. 22 News Storm Team meteorologist Brian Lapis, you were the narrator. How did you get involved in this project?
You know, I'm kind of a friend of the orchestra. Love coming to concerts here, and I was invited, and what an honor to be part of this whole fantastic concert and do whatever we can do to support the orchestra.
Are you a musician yourself?
Sorta. I sing a little bit. I played the French horn in high school terribly, so I haven't touched a French horn since 1987.
How about playing French horn in front of a green screen on 22 tonight?
That would be interesting. F major for sunny weather, kind of like an E flat minor for stormy weather. No idea.
You picked the instrument with like literally the most tubing in it.
So are these all the fourth graders of Springfield Public Schools, Paul?
There are many of them. Not quite all, but almost all of them. And Gary Bernice, you know, we work very closely with his group now, but the mayor's office, the whole group comes together from the Springfield Public Schools to really support this event.
And how did Northampton get involved this year?
Well, actually, in this case, one of our youth orchestra conductors is from Northampton, connected to the public schools there. And we've done a lot of outreach over the last couple of years. In high schools as well, of course. One of our concerts this year, we had 400 high school students from Holyoke, Springfield, Chicopee. We think it's really important to get young people in to hear this music, understand what a live symphony orchestra is all about, and come celebrate with us, the beautiful place we live.
If you're looking to get other school districts involved, like how hard is it to engage them at present?
Frankly, no, the bigger problem is space to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's already practically sold out in here.
Exactly, it's to make sure that everybody fits. If we have the resources to expand this, I'd love to do another concert again for young people from all over the place, you know. Our musicians love playing for young people. We'd love to get into the schools, frankly, more, whether it's a quartet or a trio or some part of our orchestra, just to showcase not just the instruments and the beautiful music, but I love to personalize the experience. Let them know who our musicians are. You know, how did you come to fall in love with this kind of music? How did this happen in your life? Why do you play the oboe? How did that happen? Or whatever. I think it's really a great thing to let them know who our musicians are.
I remember going to the Boston Symphony Orchestra as a kid, and it was life-changing to feel the building resonate with the music in a way that doesn't happen through car stereo speakers or even at your home speaker. And I was part of the concert band and the jazz band and the marching band, and it was a really life-changing thing.
There's something magic about being in the room where the music happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's something magic about seeing the room come to life, because a lot of times symphony halls can feel a little bit stodgy. There was not a moment here where there was any stodginess.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the great pieces of doing work like this. In theater, we talk about breaking the fourth wall. I feel like with symphonic music, opera, any of that, there always seems to be kind of this odd, unsaid distance between the audience and the orchestra, or the audience and the performers. And, I think what Paul and the Springfield Symphony Orchestra have done, which we all try to do in our own ways, is kind of to get rid of that barrier. You're part of this too. And I think when you were talking about that reaction, that's that connection, right? That they realize that, oh, I have heard this. Like, this music is a part of my day-to-day life, and I just didn't know. And I think that's the magic that happens. And also, you hear me, I'm like, I'm not afraid of a little noise. I'm like, y'all not talking to me today.
What do you think? I don't hear you talking to me. What do you think?
Off script.
Thank you.
Sounds like they're in, Caitlin.
There's that wonderful element too, which I have to give Caitlin a lot of props for. It's like we had this year. Last year we had another really great show. Caitlin is at Westfield State with young music educators, and the fact that these young music educators could do student teaching and get student teaching credit for being here and working with this program and working with the audience. And then Emily Baker, our soprano soloist, is an elementary school music teacher over in Agawam. So there are all these elements.
Let's speak about that program a little bit, because I feel like it was really well designed. It covered all of the continents that have people creating music on them. We don't know much about what music is made in Antarctica.
This piece is called Mande by Tanya Ratswa Taweng.
Mande is a sacred rain-making dance from Zimbabwe.
Also, as a part of the program, there's tracks for kids to listen to become more accustomed to it.
Some of it is designed. There's the Weil Institute at Carnegie Hall that has a team that puts it together. But it really was, the idea to do this program really came from Caitlin.
Caitlin Meyer, our
education director. She actually just sent me a bunch. We knew they'd asked me after last year's to do it, and Caitlin was like, "Hey, here's a bunch of materials. What do you think?" And I looked at it, we talked about it, and I just said, oh, this is great. And there's options. That was the other thing. It was very customizable. There's just a lot of work that Caitlin and Rocio did, going to the schools, working with the teachers, because there's different resources at different schools and different abilities and all that, and actually working with them and doing that work to get them to learn the songs so they can sing along, and get them to learn the little patterns to, body percussion, things like that.
We were definitely sitting next to a school that knew all the words.
Yeah.
A beautiful dream of me and you, the stars seem to float.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
With us as we go.
We could see kids in the audience watching you up there, conducting on their own from the seats.
And then conducting with their programs behind you.
Yeah, it was really amazing.
I love
to
that.
see somebody like you up there with the baton, I can imagine, is inspirational too.
Yes. One of the greatest sort of full circle moments that I had was actually at the education concert last year when, I was wearing a similar color palette maybe, but...
Best dressed man in all of Western Mass.
This year I ripped a seam. I didn't even know it, but...
Now here?
No, in the back of my jacket.
Whoa.
And Caitlin is sewing it up, which is hilarious. We do all things. We do all the things. When I came on stage last year, I didn't know that my neighbor at the time, her 2 grandchildren were in the audience, and they were texting their grandmom saying, "Oh my God, Mr. Galen is doing the great thing with the stick and the band." You see one of you. Words fail to express what that can mean to someone young.
Representation matters.
Yeah.
Again, we live in such a beautifully diverse part of the world.
We do.
And we think it's really important that the Springfield Symphony Orchestra represents that diversity of all the various communities that make up our community.
You don't see enough meteorologists on stage with orchestras.
Come on now. Come on now.
Fix it.
The weather community represented.
Hey, Caitlin, when you were conducting that last piece, it almost looked like you were dancing.
I can see what you mean, Brian. Conducting and dancing have a lot in common. I use my body, as you can see, mostly my arms, to communicate with the orchestra, and I let them know how fast, or slow, or loud, or soft
percussion that happens at the end of Shibboleth Basada, what is that? There's a tuned percussion that's happening at the end of that.
You mean the tuned gongs?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those are gongs?
Yeah, it's very special, smaller gongs that are tuned to individual pitches. Pekingese opera uses them a lot.
Right.
Tuned gongs.
Right.
Isn't that neat?
Get it on.
I've been wondering
Bang
that
a gong.
ever since. Oh my God.
They're on a trip. We always end up going off the rails. I'm like, I'm here for it though. I'm here for it. Oh my God. Well, thank you all for being
Yeah,
here.
thanks for inviting us. It was like, what a way to spend the day.
But don't you feel some joy in your heart? No.
Oh my God. Like I said, I got all emotional right when those first notes of Beethoven's Fifth hit, and the kids reacted that way. I was like, I started to lose it.
Reacting.
But I have to say, I recognize, I realized that I felt and heard the reaction to the opening of the Beethoven 5, but it was hilarious. That I was trying not to die laughing because then the face of Beethoven came up on the slide.
Yeah.
It was like, da-da-da-da, and they were like,
Is that what he looks like?
And I had to say, like, part of my own, like, you know, German study times, like, you know, actually Beethoven would really approve of that reaction. People see his face, is like, yeah.
One of the cooler, like, teaching moments, you start talking about the clave, and, like, literally the whole room went like, oh, we know what this is.
Absolutely.
And, like, those connections they're so important.
I know. It has that signature Latin American beat that gets your feet moving. The clave rhythm. You all know it. It goes like this.
If you get into this room and you hear this music live, it really can move you, both physically and emotionally. They had a great time. Nobody was falling asleep in Symphony Hall this morning.
In fact, you had kids dancing in the balcony.
Yeah. I turned around and I looked at them. I was like, get it. It was great.
Didn't I see the two of you dancing?
We were dancing a little bit in the back. We didn't stand up, but we were moving in our
No,
seats.
because we were too near the projector, and that's like, you'll
That
see
would have been
us.
like some shadow puppetry going
Yeah,
on there. It's like,
making it fun for the kids.
I have done that at concerts before.
I'm part of the show.
Sorry, Roger Waters.
Hey, you. So tell us about this amazing skirt that you made last night
And
for the show.
and we're talking to Caitlin Myers, the education person who was mending Kaylin's coat, but you have an incredible skirt that has the staff and notes on it.
So this is our second concert back from the pandemic with fourth graders with Springfield Public Schools. We're so excited to get to do this concert. Last year I had made myself a dress for the concert, so it's kind of become like running joke between me and our wonderful staff here at Symphony Hall.
Your staff?
Staff, So I
the
made this
five
last night
lines.
actually, just from stuff that I had around the house.
You just had tulle with staves on it, with like actual score on it?
Yeah, you know, when you're in the music education business, you gravitate towards the kitschy maybe. But yeah, we're so excited to get to have so many young people in the audience and be excited about so many different aspects. Not just, hearing the music, but getting to participate in the music, having our Westfield State University students working the projection and doing our vocal modeling kind of full circle in the terms of the education world. So
Love it.
Yeah.
Well done. With a great time.
Thank you. So glad you guys could come.
Are you one of their teachers?
Yes, I am.
What's your name?
I'm Miss Taylor.
And what school do you teach at?
Warner Elementary School.
And was that here in Springfield?
Yes.
All right, fourth graders, favorite part of the event?
The first time they were singing.
Who else had a favorite part?
It was when we did the song. I think it was like the Moonlight something.
Oh yeah, cool.
Definitely the first one. 100%.
That one? Yeah.
I agree also.
Yeah.
That one.
You guys are big Beethoven fans? Thanks again to the Springfield Symphony Orchestra and the maestro Kaylin Marcel Manson, and getting to see those fourth graders get exposed to that incredible music was amazing.
It was the most adorable!
One of my first experiences with classical music was when Yo-Yo Ma was on Mr. Rogers in 1985 when I was mere 7 years old. And as we wrap up this March membership drive, know that next week the head of PBS and the head of NPR are going to Congress in a committee headed by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Mr. Rogers himself went to Congress to try to reinforce the notion that public support of public programming should continue. Here is some of that appearance in front of the Senate.
We made 100 programs, and then when the money ran out,
people in Boston and Pittsburgh and Chicago all came to the fore and said, we've got to have more of this neighborhood expression of care. And this is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health. I think that it's much more dramatic that two men could be working out their feelings of anger, much more dramatic than showing something of gunfire. I'm constantly concerned about what our children are seeing. And for 15 years, I have tried in this country and Canada to present what I feel is a meaningful expression of care.
I'm supposed to be a pretty tough guy, and this is the first time I've had goosebumps for the last 2 days.
Well, I'm grateful not only for your goosebumps, but for your interest in our kind of communication.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
That's Mr. Rogers from back in 1969. On the next Fabulous 413, we're discovering new ways the Commonwealth is looking out for our hungry neighbors.
We'll head to Greenfield to a participant of the Food Insecurity Grant Program that pays restaurants to make meals for people in need at Mesa Verde with folks from the Franklin County CDC.
And Professor Uzman Power Green explores a 100-year-old anniversary connected to the Harlem Renaissance.
And our weekly chat with U.S. Representative Jim McGovern.
Got a question for him? They're already coming in.
Already.
thefab413@nepm.org. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Clee Smith. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.
I can go twice as high. Take a look. It's in a